How many more hours am I doing this? I'm happy to stick around.
Whoa, whoa,
whoa, whoa. Hang on, guys. We've only gone an hour and 20 minutes. I'll keep going.
And thank you for holding this press conference. I hope there's more of them.
Anytime you have extra 3 hours, we can do it.
First Lady Jill Biden reportedly ripped into White House staffers for not cutting off President Biden during that nearly 2-hour-long January 19th press conference. Quoting the New York Times here, she pointedly asked the group, which included the president, why nobody stepped in to stop it. According to a person who was in the room, where was the person, she demanded, who was supposed to end the news conference? Let's bring in Joe Concha, media and politics columnist for The Hill and a Fox News contributor. Surprised at all, Joe, that Jill Biden not happy with the president going on for 2 hours and nobody stepping in to say enough is enough?
Well, Trace, I guess it all makes sense now, right? When the president had repeatedly and awkwardly shared that he's going to get in trouble if he answers questions from the press after a speech, well, now we know who he was getting in trouble with. And it wasn't with Ron Klain, the chief of staff, and not the White House communications team, but Mrs. Biden. And a happy life, I guess, is a happy wife after all, Trace. That's what I've been told anyway. But this speaks volumes around what little confidence the First Lady has in her own husband to answer questions from, let's face it, a mostly hospitable press outside of Peter Doocy and Jackie Heinrich. Because like any spouse, she sees firsthand, Trace, up close, behind the scenes, the state of mind of this president. And to a solid majority of Americans, they've seen enough from Mr. Biden, despite seeing very little of him. You see poll after poll, 3/4 of Americans do not want this president to seek a second act, including 8 in 10 independents. Number one reason given, Trace, he's too old.
Yeah, here's some reaction, by the way, to Jill Biden upset over Joe's latest solo presser. You've got Congressman Austin Scott in Georgia. Apparently, the First Lady knows a train wreck when she sees one. Elise Stefanik in New York. The President of the United States should not need a babysitter when he talks to the media. And really, honestly, Joe, you know, you look at this morning's news conference, partially news conference, more of a statement on the gas prices and how they're going to bring down the gas prices. Looked a little unrehearsed and not exactly a confidence builder.
It hasn't been. When the president keeps saying over and over again that gas prices are coming down fastest in history, he's using the bar from the all-time high number, right? So it's misleading. And the numbers are the numbers, by the way, Trace. Joe Biden's last formal press conference at the White House was the one you just showed in January. He's had 3 overall this year. For context, Donald Trump had 35 during his last year in office, or nearly 12 times as many. And perhaps the reason Jill Biden doesn't want her husband to be held to account because he has no good answers on addressing inflation, gas prices, the border that is anything but secure, and that fentanyl crisis that's killing, 300 Americans per day on average. Without a teleprompter, Mr. Biden usually forces his team to clean up on aisle 5, but not just aisle 5, but aisle 7, 13, and 20, Trace. And they just don't want him out there because it's a net negative always instead of a net positive.
And I'm really out of time here. I wanted to put this up. The majority say mainstream media is a threat to democracy, 59%. I have 0 time to talk to you, but I'll give you 5 seconds on this. Interesting that mainstream media is a threat to democracy, Joe.
There's really nothing to add to that. That's the perception now, unfortunately. And I'm out of 5 seconds, I guess. The media has to do a much better job than it has over the last 7, 8 years. That's for sure, Trace.
Oh, Joe Concha, great to have you on. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.